And away we go. We're back.
We're back with another episode of
As
Woo. As
You
Want.
It.
What is that noise?
I don't know, but it sounded like 8, and this is episode. This is
7.
No, this is 8.
Really?
Yeah, that was the last one was 7.
Oh my god.
We're just busting them
We're
out.
really arriving, but everyone's going to hear these like normally, so it just feels like a lot to us.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So if you listen to episode 7, it's a bit heavy.
A little heavy.
And as we mentioned in one of the other episodes, we record 2 podcasts a day, so it's the same day as episode 7.
Yes.
So Celine and I
had to go on a walk.
We had to go on a walk, process the discussion about processing.
Yeah, because I said to Jer, because we were talking maybe about expanding a little bit on episode 7 because it's such a heavy topic. But I think then we would start to get into more of a pop culture, political discussion on abuse. And that isn't necessarily our goal, right?
Yeah.
And I think also talking about something that I don't have direct experience about is difficult to be woo about.
Yeah.
Right?
I think
that's what we settled on.
I love that. I love that you said that because I feel like that's such a woo approach too.
Yeah.
We can only talk about abuse so much. Like,
right.
And, we have a woo perspective on things, but it's like we have not experienced that.
No, and our
God.
opinion is, everybody has their opinions and ways of processing and dealing, and that is valid.
Totally.
And I wouldn't want to invalidate something that I don't really know that much about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's great that we're open to admit it.
Yeah.
And we should.
I think that a difficult part of discussing all these sort of esoteric woo ideas is that you really get into the territory of there is no right or wrong kind of the line. There's no line anymore. So it's real shaky ground.
And I think, oh man, it's
right.
Yep. Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Ugh.
So I think it's hard for people to get there.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's even hard for us to, after we had that episode, we were both like, whoa.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
I felt a bit exhausted. Or it was just heavy. It was just heavy.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like bad. It just felt like kind of like the shit that's happened over the past few years where crappy shit happens and you're just like, ugh.
You're like, again.
I'm okay, but ugh.
Yeah. It's definitely, trying to logically understand just bad stuff.
Right.
When you're not operating from a podium of here's what's right, here's what's... I mean, there are things that are inherently right and wrong, right?
Are there?
Well, I think so. Your intention. If you know what you're doing is harmful to another human, then I think you're operating in a place that's coming from more of a dark place. You're not coming from a love, light, do-gooding, expanding place. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I do think there is a line, but it's kind of, unfortunately, subjective to that, soul, I guess, and what they're trying to experience in this world, on this vibration. And, to be on the receiving end of somebody's intentions that are darker will always be hard.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, man. It's really shaky ground.
Shaky.
Yeah. And as woo as you want does not approve any negative shit.
No.
We're just saying it. We don't approve of negative shit. So the way I approach it, and man, I feel like we really are right now. Just a couple of philosophy
we're
kids.
Just swimming and bullshitting.
Right and wrong. Yeah, this is a good one. But one thing that I guess a moral compass for me more lately is, I'm going where Jesus is going.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I'm just saying love.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good broad category.
Yeah.
Right?
Are you living your day to day in love? And love is we actually, this came up in one of our episodes where I said something about love. And even love can be a stigmatized thing because, a lot of people can interpret love as like this person to person romantic thing.
Yeah.
And it's like no word may even be able to kind of encompass it. But it's like, oh man. I feel like I'm in
the hand motion he's doing right now is really rich.
Yeah, I'm essentially like
circling
my hands in like quicksand because I'm like, there's no way out of this. As a human, like there's nothing I can say that's going to make me like yeah. But I think it's love. I just try personally to approach everyone with love, and I think that's a good approach. And as like Seth was saying with like, love thy neighbor as thyself, he's like, it's actually not the best axiom because some people don't love themselves. Right. Which is true.
Yeah. I kind of think it's more just like coming from a place of like, just don't do harm to people.
Yeah, no harm.
Don't do harm.
That's a yogic one of like the yogic foundational truths.
But it that's the place of love.
Yeah.
I mean, I sometimes don't come from that place of love, shockingly.
Well, we're all human.
I know, I'm kidding.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And there's just sometimes shit where it's like you don't even know the ramifications of your action, Like you don't even know.
I know, isn't that kind of scary?
Like sometimes you're just ignorant and you don't realize it, and then later on, like we were saying in the last episode, it's like this concept of time where you look back and you go, oh shit, I was this way with this person or this way, and now I'm more awake, and oh my god, so
yeah, how did I get myself here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess we get ourselves here by, how we are in, like, our everyday.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Just taking it day by day.
Kinda. I think so.
Yeah. Or, as I like to say, moment by moment.
Yeah, that's, like, kind of easier.
That's how I, when we ended the last episode, it's... when you go through really hard shit, sometimes the easiest or the best thing you can do for yourself is just stop and breathe.
Yeah.
And like bring it back to the moment.
Yeah, but I think like I actually had a client come in last week who was in the middle of a really intense panic attack. So just in it, and came in, and I was like,
wow.
Okay, like let's do this, right? Like heart racing, crying, thought they were dying, like literally, legitimately.
Oh,
and
I've had it.
Yeah. And the only thing, and they were like, I feel like I'm going to faint. And I was like, okay, let's do this, And the only thing I could think of doing was just like holding their feet and telling them like to breathe. And that's it, because you can't convince somebody to get out of a cyclical spiral because they're already in it. And it does come back to like the breath, taking it back there, trying a little better. And then I followed up with her a couple days later to be like, hey, like, how are you doing?
That's
she
great.
was like, you know what, I feel, and it was much shorter than usual sessions. And I didn't even use needles because I just used magnets instead. It would have been too much. But I guess I'm saying this, like, they came in of whatever traumas, whatever anxieties, whatever suffering they had, and like came in and to my space where I'm not going through that. And I think just being present and open and listening and holding someone and holding that space for them to just freak out in a safe place is like
amazing.
Yeah, the way you can just practice love and, not harm.
You're a real healer. You're a real healer, Celine.
I will say though, I had a bunch of other people at the same time, and it made me very distracted. I forgot to do. Yeah, it just kind of threw me off a little bit because it was so much about being present for this person that I was like, oh shit, I have 2 other people that I also have to be present for.
It's hard.
But it was a pretty big panic attack.
Yeah.
Oof, panic attacks.
Have you ever had one?
Yes. They are terrible.
They're really bad.
Yeah. It's weird when your body kind of revolts against you, it feels like.
Mm-hmm. It's scary.
Yeah. I haven't had one in a while.
Me neither.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I can go on a whole tangent about why I had my first panic attack, because it's related to drugs. I was like, maybe this will be the drug episode. I think we should. Well, I'd like to talk about drugs at some point.
Yeah, we can definitely talk about drugs.
Maybe a little revealing, but
maybe.
Probably more, I don't know. Yeah. Well, people who are into woo shit, some of us get into drugs because it expands your mind, it expands your consciousness. I mean,
psychedelics and connecting to the higher plane, lots of cool information on that.
Yep. It's one way to get there.
Yeah.
I actually worked on I don't think I mentioned this story, but after I got out of grad school and I was doing film work, I started my film production career, and I was interning at places, and I was picking up freelance gigs now and then. I interned at this one production company in New York, Turn of the Century Pictures. Etienne, if you're listening, he's the owner.
Etienne.
Oh, he was a French.
He was a little dude. French fry.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Sweet guy. We actually bumped into each other not too long ago, but he produced this film called Dirty Pictures. I actually helped him pick that title, and it's about almost you could even consider him the grandfather of psychedelics. His name is Sasha Shulgin, Shulgin, and he was an American. He passed away recently. He was an American chemist who him and his wife Anne, he literally synthesized over 200 psychedelic compounds, and him and his wife would take them.
I feel like I listened to a podcast about this.
Oh, really?
Did he make LSD?
No, that's Albert Hoffman.
Oh.
But what he did do was he didn't create MDMA, which is Molly for those who don't know, but he resynthesized it. So MDMA was developed, I'm pretty sure, in Germany by one of the pharmaceutical companies. But he found out about it, I think, around in the 50s or early 60s, resynthesized it. They were living in Texas at the time, and Anne, I'm not sure if Anne is still around with us, but Anne is or was a therapist, and she started administering MDMA to her patients, and they were seeing these amazing results.
I bet.
And yeah, so he's kind of like the grandpapa of Molly. Grandpapa.
I love how
Grandpapa.
I watched this really great documentary a couple years ago called The Spiritual Molecule, and it's all about...
I haven't seen it.
Oof, yeah. It's great. It's different people taking it in different settings and their experience, and they talk a lot about how it got kiboshed being used in therapy by the government.
Yep, but it's coming back. So
Is it?
This whole documentary kind of follows Sasha's life, and it rounds out with there's a lot of psychedelic research happening now that's becoming more and more accepted in Western science.
I mean, it makes
psilocybin,
sense.
which are mushrooms, is a big one.
Microdosing.
LSD for microdosing. Psilocybin's they're realizing is amazing. They've been doing a lot of research on PTSD patients.
I know some patients who take it.
Oh, really?
Who microdose.
Wow.
Mushrooms.
They microdose mushrooms. Okay.
It's very expensive.
They get it like a prescription? Or, oh no. Yeah, you don't know. You don't want to reveal.
No,
some of this shit isn't legal. But.
Yeah, this is not legal.
Yeah.
They get it illegally.
Okay, but they microdose.
Yeah, just a little bit. Not every day.
Yeah.
That's what word on the street is.
Yeah.
Though, I mean, they get good results with it. I
feel like we need to have some like disclaimer like, as well as you want does not condone any usage of illegal substances. Blah 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 blah. So we're going to say that right now.
You just did it.
Yeah, I just did.
Yeah.
You are your own agent. We are not subscribing to any.
It's purely just information.
Yeah, this is just information for promotional usage or recreational usage. Do not, listen to us as doctors or medical professionals.
We're not that at all.
There we go. That was my
It was
spiel.
good. It was actually,
I'm Jewish, so I got I just have lawyer in me.
That was great.
It's like in my blood.
It was just like on the spot, fast talking.
Yeah, exactly.
You said everything we needed.
Okay.
Anyway,
now you're good. We did the disclaimer.
We did the disclaimer, so that's just the only kind of, not personally, but like around me, I've known about that.
Yeah. I don't know how revealing I want to be.
I think that's fine.
That's been the interesting thing about this podcast is how open do you want to be, And I want to be very open, but it's also like part of it is like how much of this is about us versus how much of this is just about the the subject matter. And obviously you can't extricate one from the other.
No. Well, I think that feeling vulnerable talking about different issues.
Yeah, I will. I mean, I'm more than happy to talk about my panic attack experience because it happened. Everyone in my life knows about it, but I'm not going to do the whole story because it will take a very long time. Okay. But I will. I always preface the story with this, which is, a lot of people think of their life's narrative as like a book, and you have like specific chapters. You have like your baby years and your like tween years and your high school years and college. My panic attack / weed story is a chapter.
Love that. Great.
That's how I always preface it. I'm like, this was a chapter in the book of Jeremiah. Not the OG Jeremiah.
Right.
The new G Jeremiah. Oh, it's so lame. Anyway, I was in college.
Okay. Good start.
And we're going down. Okay, we're going down the rabbit hole.
You don't have to talk about it.
Well,
I mean, I had a panic attack one time when I took mushrooms.
Yeah, and I
will never do it again.
Yeah, it was brownies.
So, there we go.
That's it.
That's it.
And if you want to know more, you got to talk to me personally.
DM him.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah, you can DM.
But it was bad, man. And it's one of those things where like dosage is huge, context is huge.
Yeah, being in the right environment with the right people. And I think a lot of times my take on like if you're going to experiment with psychedelics, it's like what is your intention behind what you're doing? And I think when you're using it for connecting to like a spiritual realm or trying to expand your vibration, like do it with someone who knows about that stuff, if that's your intention. Like in the documentary, the Spiritual Molecule, they talk about that, how the intention behind what you're doing before you take, anything like ayahuasca or like LSD is like, you have to be in the space to receive something big, or else if you're just like taking it willy-nilly, shit can go wrong. Because you're kind of messing with, it's like an interdimensional thing.
Yeah, you're opening a door.
You're opening a gateway that like can be really powerful and amazing if you are with the right like guide. But if not, like you'll have a panic attack.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a huge thing with Western culture has gone so much shit wrong. And this is one of them, you know? Like, we don't have a lot of shamans. We don't have a lot of people who could guide us. We aren't trained in that way. Now we're kind of doing it in our Western way, where it's like, you know, dudes in lab coats, like, sitting with people who are in, like, you know, comfortable rooms or whatever. But it's like these ideas, these practices, these thoughts, these ways of teaching and guiding and all of those techniques, they've been around for thousands upon thousands of years, and we're, like, just discovering it now.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer. But it's also, I think, part of the construct of what we've been in. You know, like a patriarchal concept of control and science and rationalizations. And it's kind of gotten us in a little bit of a predicament, I would say, perhaps.
I would agree with you.
Yeah. So now it's kind of getting back to, like... And I also think there's this whole thing, like, even as an herbalist prescribing Chinese herbs, I often do in practice, a lot of people are like, well, hold on a second, what's in this? And I'm like, but you're, like, taking Klonopin and Xanax and Ambien. Like, do you know what's in that?
Right.
Like, I'm like, these are just, like, roots and plants. Are you okay with that? And they're like, well, I have to check with my doctor. Well, that's actually fine. I'm sorry to be, like, a little snooty about that. But I do think there's this, like, thing. I'm like, I'm telling you to take a plant that's going to help you with XYZ.
Right.
And you'd rather take a modified version of a plant derivative in a pill form.
That gets prescribed by a doctor who's probably making money from the pharmaceutical company.
Yeah, I'm like, it's a little wonky.
It gets really wonky.
It's so wonky.
Yeah. It also gets wonky, like, you know, the counter argument is that, you know, but that pill comes from, there was, oh my God, I forgot what, it was for, I think it was a Johnson & Johnson commercial. There's one of these, like, major players in the, like, health, industry that did this whole marketing campaign about how, like, their products are all, like, naturally sourced, and, like, they just take like, the founder, like, gives this whole spiel about how, like, their, you know, like, Clorox or whatever is, like, natural because it comes from, like, the molecules of the blah blah blah, and, like, they're just resynthesizing it in their labs, and it's like, where do you draw the line? I don't know. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting.
Even weed. You know?
Yeah, well, CBD is, like, big time now.
All the rage, yeah.
Which, as someone who doesn't smoke weed because it makes me too anxious, CBD is a nice alternative for me, personally. I actually I actually encourage patients to take CBD oil.
And you've done it yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I haven't. I won't go there.
Really? Oh, it's totally fine. Before I went to Miami, I took a bunch of CBD gummies.
Like, before the flight?
Yeah. And I was, like, cruising around LaGuardia. And I was like, hey, what's up?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Weed and I have quite the history. It's funny because I think you and I, you know, people who are, like, heady in this way, we can't do this shit, man.
Because it's already in our heads.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
people are like, oh, but you think about these big things. I'm like, this is my fucking existence. Like, I don't need to be more heady than I am.
I think I could do it, like, if I was in a space with, like, a guide and, like, I had an intention or a purpose. Like, I think that would make me feel better, personally, to do any kind of, like, or, like, whenever I watch any of those documentaries, I'm like, sign me up. But then I'm like, you're too nervous.
Yeah, there's just a lot to it. You got to know where your stuff is coming from, which is hard to do. I have found that, like, in, you know, some of the experiences I've had with drugs since my meditation practice and since I've, like, learned to kind of calm my mind.
Okay.
It's been
a nice time.
Really great.
Huh.
Because I'm able to kind of, like, breathe through it, and, like, I feel like I'm just way more trusting and, like, open, and I don't know. I don't, like, it's almost like I don't, like, attack myself like I used to. Like, you're thinking that, so it's that, you know, like, yeah, that first brownie I had was just, like, bad news bears, man. Bad news bears.
You know, I will say that, so CBD is not psychoactive.
Right.
Okay.
It's bodily.
So
somatic.
Yeah, it's more of that kind of experience. And it's not as jarring or strong as weed is. So I oftentimes, if someone has like an autoimmune disease or like a lot of inflammation, I'll suggest CBD because it's hemp oil, which is CBD, a cannabinoid like derivative, is proven to be, well, not FDA, but like whatever, anti-inflammatory.
Wow.
So it's kind of, I think it's becoming big because it will help people manage chronic pain without using opiates, and that will rock the pharmaceutical industry. So we'll see what happens with it. I'm a little pessimistic.
I didn't realize that you like almost prescribe
Herbal medicine?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I've ever told you.
You're revealing it now.
Yeah.
That's
Along
cool.
with acupuncture, I learned Chinese medicine. Herbal medicine.
In grad school.
In grad school, but
Oh.
for all my years.
Celine?
What?
Okay.
You know.
I'm going to be asking you a bunch of questions about this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So herbal formulas designed for, you can take them as powders. You can take them as pills. You can get them as like literal like twigs and branches and like be super witchy and cook them in a big pot. It takes a long time. I wouldn't suggest that.
I like doing that.
Oh, well then you can definitely. There's a bunch of places in Chinatown where you can get like Camwo.
Let's take a trip to Chinatown.
Let's go to Camwo. Yeah, we should.
And we'll just like you can be our guide.
I can be your.
You could be our shaman.
Well, maybe yes.
Yeah.
But herbal medicine, yeah.
Okay.
Like if I get sick, I'll take herbal medicine.
All right. Great. What would you take if you're
I
sick?
take this
like a common cold.
A common cold. I take this one patent yin chow, which is so when you learn herbal medicine in acupuncture school, you learn it in pinyin, which is an old form of Chinese dialect that's like close, that I think they spoke maybe in somewhere near Cambodia. So like when I say these herbal formulas, I don't know the plant name.
Yeah. Okay.
So I have like a 2 or 3 kind of like go-to herbal formulas. But then, depending on what else is going on, there's a million other formulas you can use.
Oh man. I just want to pick your brain.
Yeah, I mean, you learn them. It's really difficult to learn in school. There's a lot.
Yeah.
And then you take your herbal boards. But you don't have to be...
Whoa. So you're like certified.
Yeah, but so it depends which state. Like some states don't allow you to practice acupuncture without an herbal degree.
I see.
That's only Massachusetts and Florida, surprisingly. But since I learned and graduated and got certified initially in Mass, I have all of them. But that was always part of the plan.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, herbal medicine. It's a pretty neat thing. It takes longer. It takes longer than regular stuff,
Right.
Anything holistic will.
Right. People want quick fixes.
They want a quick fix.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting. A lot of it tastes disgusting. I will say that. It just tastes like dirt.
Yeah.
But you do what you got to do.
Does the body good.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little hack that I learned from Melissa that her mom actually used to do is, which I should be doing right now. My throat's a little dry. So sometimes my throat just gets dry and you just take like some ginger.
Yeah.
A little slice of ginger, a little chunk of ginger, and
yeah.
you just chew it up and it like burns like a mofo, but your throat is just like...
Another just easy...
fired out.
Natural form of antibiotic is actually garlic. Mm-hmm. So if you just eat a bunch of garlic cloves...
That was the other one that her mom used to always give her.
Garlic. Other things that I suggest a lot that are just like you can get at the grocery store or your health food is oil of oregano. As in tincture, which is a liquid. That will burn. So dilute that in water or orange juice. Or reishi mushrooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
for
immunity for
okay.
In the wintertime, if you're going to be around a bunch of sick people. There's a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever had fire cider?
Yes.
I love fire cider.
Really?
Oh, it's so good.
I forget what's in it.
I like the burn. It's like apple cider vinegar and cayenne and
The burn.
ginger, I think. Some variants.
Yeah, so that's pretty woo-woo. I forgot that I do that. I should mention that.
Celine is so amazingly talented and knowledgeable. And she's like, oh yeah, I kind of have a master's degree in Chinese medicine or whatever.
No, I think for me, it's more about who I'm with. Like, I'll talk about this stuff in my work, but like, I'm just not someone who's like at a dinner party and be like, hey, did you know that I just don't toot my own horn, I guess.
Right.
Which I guess I should do more, but that makes me a little uncomfortable.
I totally know what you mean. But, okay, so let's say you're at a dinner party and someone's like,
If
and they're like coughing and
it depends who they are.
It is, yeah.
And if I'm like, you would be receptive to me saying some stuff. Because I found the more that working in what I do, the more that someone, if they just want to come in and they don't want any like suggestions, me saying it just annoys them.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
So I kind of read the room.
I learned that lesson later. I think I just annoyed a lot of fucking people. You should do this. You should do this. Well, I think you should do this. And now I'm like, if you want my opinion, ask me.
Yeah.
Unless obviously you're really in pain or something like that. But
yeah.
I'm much more reserved now when it comes to
that kind of stuff. But I think this is why the podcast is a good thing for me to do. It's like to talk about the random information that I have stored in my brain.
Yeah. But you're like a powerhouse. It's like, go to Celine for acupuncture. Go to Celine for like Chinese herbal medicine. Go to Celine for, let's talk about this. Magnets? What do you do?
Oh, magnets but that's part of acupuncture.
Oh, explain. I don't know.
You use magnets instead of using acupuncture needles. Okay. And like, depending on what you're doing, you can use the polarities of the magnets to ground somebody down. So if you're having a panic attack, as this happened to this one person that came in the other day, putting, you can turn the magnet over and it's like on a sticky piece of paper, so you could flip it so it's either going north or south.
Right.
And so you'll kind of diagonally cross it on the arms and the feet, and it will create like an energetic grid.
Wow.
That's more like Japanese style acupuncture. They're more gentle. They use a lot of magnets.
Would you say that's a very, very simple form of sacred geometry?
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So cool.
It's really cool.
I love that. And I love how it kind of ties into the last episode about like dark and light, north and south, negative, positive.
Yeah.
Like having that kind of pull, the attraction or repellent.
Yeah, it's like in your body, physically felt.
Wow.
I know. It's pretty neat.
Cool.
Yeah.
Magnets are fun.
Magnets are pretty cool.
Magnets, how do they work? You know that song?
No.
No? Oh, okay. Just Google magnets, how do they work? You'll see. I used to love magnets as a kid.
Really?
Oh, they're so cool.
They just stick together.
It's just like it moves in midair. You're like, what is this? This is magic.
I know. It's
so
just
cool.
Based on the poles, right? They're energetic, the opposite poles.
Yeah, we're in a magnetic field.
We are in a magnetic field. One time I went with my mom to Omega Institute.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm not going to remember his name. I'm just going to tell you what he taught you how to break your own magnetic field.
Whoa.
Yeah, you would place like your two fingers like on someone's shoulder and maybe near their ribs, and you would like push very lightly with like a certain intention of just like breaking a field, and you would like fall a little bit.
I literally...
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, what's so crazy...
I'm going to look up his name.
Yeah, look it up. Like, as you're looking that up, it's so crazy you're mentioning that because, and I've mentioned Shaman Durek before, but I was kind of scrolling through my Instagram a couple days ago, and I saw him do something like that.
Yeah, it's a technique.
And I was like, what the fuck is he doing? And now that you're mentioning it, I was like, it's crazy that you're literally bringing that up. With synchronicity.
Gosh, it's this guy, and he gives this whole talk.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
It's okay. We'll plug
I'll
in
think about
the next
it.
episode or put it on the Instagram.
But it was really fun because then everybody started doing it. And for a while I could do it. I haven't... This was maybe like 10 years ago.
Did you feel... In what way did you feel like you shifted?
So whenever you're working on like at the energetic level, it's like a feeling of sinking into something. Like you sink into a break. Does that make sense?
You sink into a break.
Yeah. Yeah. Or whenever you're working with someone with like Reiki, you know, changing their energetic patterns a little bit.
Right.
You look at their body and the way they're breathing, and then if you can tap into it, it's like a subtle change, like a subtle way of like, you know, if you're sitting and you're tense and then all of a sudden you're like, relax your shoulders.
Right.
And that feeling,
yes,
that's kind of what it feels like.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I feel like it's like when you meditate, kind of, right? Like when you get into a flow.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
There's certain levels of like awareness or awakeness or presentness.
How is Shaman Durek?
How is he?
Yeah. What's his latest podcast? He's a really interesting man.
I haven't listened. I listened to a little bit of a podcast a couple days ago. That was great. He's just like a fireball of love.
I know.
He's awesome. He's intense.
Does he give like sessions?
Yeah, he does sessions. He does
he
like
does.
group sessions. He does private sessions. He's in LA. I think he was living in London for a while, but he's in LA now. The way he described it didn't sound like permanent. He was just like, I'm here now because I need to be here.
Ugh, I would love to just talk like that.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I'm here because I need to be right now.
Yeah. I think I'm more and more getting there, but it's just very inspirational to me to see people who like know their purpose. Just know it.
Yeah.
They're just so clear.
I mean, I don't think that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm into people who are just content with where they are and like happy about it. I know, because I think
beautiful.
That's something that's tough for me. People are like, I'm just here right now doing what I need to do. And like my next step will come. I'm more just like, so how can I fix that?
I got some Capricorn. I got some
Triple.
I got some
Triple.
Capricorn in me, and I need to know now.
And it's all it's all fire and earth. Gosh, what a pain.
Yeah, being content. I actually pulled some tarot yesterday.
I pulled a bad one the other day.
What'd you pull?
Mine was like, I have to figure out some stuff, let some stuff go. I always pull that stuff though.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know, but what?
There's a bunch of sirens going off. We've had a few. Apologies. But this is New York. This is what you get.
This is what you get.
This is what you get on As Woo Woo As You Want.
Yeah. Real life.
So I literally pulled last night, and my past was the World, which I've gotten multiple times, which is kind of a nutty card. My present was the Seven of Pentacles, and my future was Temperance, which is the Huron, which is like, yeah. So I was like reading into that a little bit and trying to understand that, and I know we've said it before, but like our friend Jackie, we're going to get her on the show and actually talk about tarot because she's so phenomenal. And
so wait, is that a bad one? What's the vibe of that? She would never say it's bad.
Yeah,
she would just explain the cards.
Yeah. She would just explain the cards. So the World is basically completion, harmony, like the end of a
That's
cycle.
what your past is?
Yeah, and I've gone the world a few times in like...
That's confusing.
Yeah.
The pentacle one. Pentacles are like...
Material wealth. Or materiality.
Oh, I'm thinking of cups. Okay,
Cups
yeah.
is emotional.
Material wealth. Oh.
So the seven of Pentacles is really interesting because it's like... what's the deck that you have? What's it called?
Oh,
just so I can plug
the
it.
Wild Unknown.
Yes, the Wild Unknown.
Is that true?
I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great deck.
Wonderful deck. So I was reading their explanation, and the Seven of Pentacles is, it's like kind of a confusing card because it's like you've put in all this work and effort, and maybe you don't see the results, but it's also like, where are you looking?
Oh.
Right? So it's like maybe...
a trick card.
Right. It's kind of like, maybe it seems like you're not experiencing success, or maybe you're just not looking in the right place.
What a woo-woo perfect card to get for you.
And then my final one, which was Temperance, was all about moderation and balance.
Your future?
Yeah. Which is really interesting.
Does that resonate with you?
So I was trying to like put them together. It was a bit of, I think it's really one of those things where like, and this is the beauty of, you know, people like Celine and other people who are like healers, where getting that outside perspective, you know, is just so amazing if you're open to it. Some people aren't, but I was like, I was coming up with interpretations and certain things felt right, but like, yeah, I'm not totally clear on it.
I think that makes sense for you at this particular juncture. It sounds like the present is sort of like planting seeds, right? That will grow.
Well, it's almost like I've already been planting seeds.
Well, yeah.
Right.
The now is like, and the harvesting that, and like being, I think it's like being a little creative with how you see wins. Right? Mm-hmm. And then I think the future, though, is about moderating yourself in your work and your relationships.
Huh.
Because I feel like we often talk, and sometimes on the podcast, I think, too, about, like, giving, and then, you know, to receive properly, whether that's, like, emotionally or financially, like, to be compensated in the way that we think we're worthy of.
Yeah.
And maybe the future is, like, you knowing that space very firmly and moderating that.
You just hit it.
Right?
I think, you know what it is for me is in the abundance work I've been doing, I think it's learning how to live in a more healthy, aligned place of balance.
Okay, yeah.
And not, I think when I was really young, I was too tight. I don't know if I've ever been, maybe I've been too extravagant. I'm not sure. I feel like those stories still being written, but I feel like I'm still figuring out like how to flow with the flow.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
So.
Huh. That's why I like tarot for that reason.
Me too.
You know, like interpreting it. It's like a different way of looking at a problem or a solution.
It's like instead of just taking some hits of acid, just
pull a card.
Just pull a card. Just pull a card. Chill out. Take some cards.
Actually, I don't think he would mind me sharing this. The other day, our friend Braxton came over to my apartment and just chatting, hanging out after work, and pulled this card that was all about some surprise thing is going to like come into your life and you're going to have to kind of like quickly manage it. And
Whoa.
we were both like, weird. I kid you not, 10 minutes later, he got a work email that he was like, oh boy, I got to go take care of this right now. It was like a logistic stuff. And so he like left and took care of it and then, you know, texted and I was like, is everything okay? And he was like, yeah, it's fine. We worked it out. And he was like, that card was a complete, like it was exactly what happened.
Whoa.
Pretty nuts.
I love it.
I know.
Tarot's nutty.
I know.
I pulled the same 3 cards, literally the same 3 cards, I think 1 month apart, and I hadn't pulled any cards in between. The same 3 in the same order. And I was like,
That's
what the
weird.
fuck are the odds of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at least you're not pulling them anymore.
No, but it was, oh no, that was another pull. Yeah. There was that time I pulled, I think The World is 22, right? So it was like the major arcana. It was like...
Oh, you went through all of it?
20, 21, 22. It was like the last 3 cards of the major arcana.
Oh, wow.
I sent that email. I took a photo and sent it to you and Jackie.
Oh, right. And we were both really positive about it.
Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck does this mean?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I think it's interesting to like pull them and then read about them and then see how they fit in. Like I think a lot of times, like if you get like a death card or like the devil, you're like, oh shit.
Yep.
But it can kind of just mean like transitions or like coming out of a darkness or going into a darkness. That's like probably temporary.
Yeah, and like you were talking about that before, like bad cards and stuff, and I feel like this relates really beautifully to what we were saying last week and or last episode and earlier in this episode, this concept of light and dark, right or wrong, where it really depends on your perspective.
Yeah.
And like really shitty things can happen in your life, and you know, it takes a village, but I feel like if you can approach it from a place of love, and if you have people around you who support you, and I feel like I think this is one of the goals of humanity, is to get to a place where we're supporting each other through those shitty moments.
Yeah.
You know, and
knowing who to, like,
allow,
talk to.
yeah, and that if you can gain a perspective that allows it not to just be shitty, if you can gain a perspective that goes beyond the crappiness.
Well,
of
I
it.
think you have to, just accept the shittiness, go through that, feel that feeling, find a really good therapist, someone who knows how to manage a lot of these things. And then I think once you get, like, out of the kind of, like, nitty-gritty, the horrible, like, just shit that's happened, and, like, can move forward in a way, then I think you can kind of get to a, like, woo-woo place.
Yeah.
I do think you have to go through it. You have to go through the very black and white, suffering, abused, devastating victim world.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you can kind of do the work to get to a new place, I think that's kind of woo-woo.
It's like on the way to enlightenment. I mean, that's, the Buddhists say, existence is suffering.
Yeah.
But I feel like, again, if we can love each other, love ourselves, love ourselves first
and foremost,
or in conjunction
or
with,
learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Learn how to do it. Because a lot of people don't, that is a lifelong thing.
It's a yes.
Lifelong.
100%.
Always.
And people always say, love yourself. And it's like, it's not just like, oh,
thank you.
There was a few episodes ago, I was like, hug yourself. It's like, we're not saying like you hug yourself and it's like, you're cured.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
No.
It's a relationship with yourself.
It's a relationship. It's like working on a relationship with yourself that allows you to have great relationships with other people, because we're all just mirrors, right? Like, that's a reflection of what you need to do or how to be or where you're at.
It's like you're a mirror.
I actually like that song. It's pretty good. It's a Justin Timberlake song.
It's so good.
Off the 2020 Experience.
I freaking love that song.
I know. I haven't listened to that in a while. I like that he's married to Jessica Biel.
And this podcast has turned into a...
Well, we
culture.
are
No,
just living in the world.
Yeah, we are.
What was I going to say? There was one thing I was going to say, because I said it to you after our episode that we just did last time. Mm-hmm. And I kind of think it blew my mind a little bit. I tweeted about it years ago. Mm-hmm. And it is this idea that holding two contradicting opinions at the same time with the same value is a true sign of enlightenment. And I think that's totally spot on.
Yeah,
and that's like next level enlightenment. You're going to just skyrocket to the 12th dimension. And I think that is a nice just kind of way to wrap up the whole all the shitty things we've talked about this episode and the last episode.
The last episode. I love that.
Yeah.
Do you know who? Yeah.
The internet.
Okay.
The internet told me.
Google it.
Google it.
Yeah.
But
that's a
bravo
beautiful
on
quote.
that. And I think that is that is what being into spiritual, esoteric, woo-woo stuff is. You take the ego and the hurt out of, and then the reaction out of events. It's neutral. Because I think the universe is kind of neutral, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Like, that's a lot for our little pea brains.
Yeah, and that's it's attachment, right? It's attachment to your body, attachment to your ego. And when
to
you
your
start
experiences,
to
so you like your things.
And when you start like releasing the attachments, then you're able to flow.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of them.
We all do. That's why we're here. That's why we're on planet Earth.
Just like sailing through the trash land.
Sailing through the trash land.
I mean, you know, it is. It's a little...
Earth isn't that bad. We got Queer Eye. There's
some pretty cool...
We got as woo-woo as you want.
And there's some cool botanic gardens.
There's some good stuff out there.
Yeah, I know. It's not all bad.
Yeah. Let's wrap it, yeah?
Yeah. Let's wrap it up.
So it's kind of funny, but it's not exactly 420, but it was 424, which is kind of funny.
Oh, for our drug
weed,
stuff.
huh?
I went to UVM, so I know.
So I think this week's daily practice is to take as many drugs as you can. No.
Take as much acid.
See how many hits of acid you can take. No.
I think it should just be, if you want to explore that, make sure you do that in an environment that is safe for you, with someone who knows what's up.
Yeah, and ideally you're in like a decent state of mind.
Yeah, don't do it if you're like, you know, having a panic attack.
Yeah.
No.
I never did ayahuasca, but I went to a like orientation. I was like close to doing it.
I have thought about it many a times.
Yeah. The reason I bring ayahuasca up is because it's almost like the opposite. It's like, not the opposite, but a lot of people take it when they're in really bad places, and it kind of lifts them or opens them in ways that are quite transformational.
Before we go, I'll say I know 2 clients who've taken ayahuasca and had really bad residual side effects. Lots of fear. So I think that they weren't in a great state when they took it initially.
So this is what I will say about drugs, and it's actually back from when I was working on that documentary, Dirty Pictures. We did a scene where I was PAing on the shoot. PAing is production assistant.
PA.
PA.
Yeah.
I was helping the crew. We were shooting a psychedelic drug conference at NYU. This was in 2009.
Okay.
2008 or 2009 at the Judson Memorial Church, right by Washington Square Park.
Okay.
And there were amazing speakers. Sasha Shulgin was one of the people who spoke, and some amazing researchers, Johns Hopkins, these are the people who are doing these like psilocybin studies and stuff like that. And I don't remember the speaker who said this, but he experimented with drugs, but is also now a Buddhist monk. And he said, the difference between drugs versus meditation is, think of it this way. If you are in LA and you want to go to New York, you can take a plane there, or you can walk there.
Is walking the meditation and drugs is the plane?
You got it. What if it's the other way around?
Well, I was like, either way,
No.
I would be like, okay.
Yeah. So it's like you arrive at the same place.
Yeah, but it just depends how fast.
It depends how fast. It also, I think there's more to it than that.
Right, like the turbulent. Right, I get the whole
turbulence,
analogy.
Baba Ramdas took a lot of acid and for years before he stopped, and he talks about how you have the come down. You don't stay in that state.
Right.
And I think the difference is with meditation, you're building yourself into a new state of being.
Yeah. I mean, I think the bottom line is like, it's an interesting experience maybe, but like to truly...
You get a glimpse. It's like you open the door and then it shuts.
To truly get to a place that I think maybe you intend to, I think you probably need to walk there.
Yeah.
Safety first. Always.
First.
I think that's the important thing to take away.
And take your time.
Take your time, be patient.
There's no rush. Yeah. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
I'll say one more Ram Dass thing, because it came to me, but he has this beautiful quote that says, we're all walking each other home.
That's like so sweet.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, okay. Okay. I think that's a nice little time.
Nice little time?
Yeah.
Any daily...
I mean, I feel like that was kind
thing?
of a daily thing.
What?
Just like the idea of being easy on yourself.
Be easy on yourself.
Yeah. Moment to moment.
Be easy
on
yourself.
Be compassionate.
Oh, just self-compassion. Self-compassion. Take care of yourself. Do something nice for yourself. Get the manicure, get the pedicure.
Clean your sheets. Sometimes that makes me...
Hey.
Fresh
whatever
sheets?
Floats your boat.
Come on, that's a nice time.
Yeah. For me, it's cleaning dishes.
Really?
I feel so good afterwards.
Oh my God.
So... Yeah.
Anything works.
One person's yum is another person's yuck. One person's yuck is
you
another
have a
person's yum.
lot of good lines today.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I like
I'm pulling. Yeah.
Yum, yuck.
Yum, yuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Walk each other home.
That's nice. I'll walk each other home.
Yeah, I like that one. So yes, take care of yourself.
Yes.
Just be kind to yourself.
Absolutely.
I'll leave you on that note.
Okay.
All right. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.